everybody, welcome back to the channel today. My name is Carly. Now this video that you're watching is actually part 2 of a little kind of mini series that I decided to do this week. Me and Addie have been obsessed with all things Wicked, and we actually have tickets to go see the movie next week. So I know I haven't technically seen the movie yet, but I have been obsessed with the play for years, and I'm very familiar with the storyline, and obviously all the songs and everything about the movie just looks amazing. And I know everybody is obsessed with it. All of my feeds, it's just like Wicked stuff basically. And so in the midst of this whole like Wicked tornado I feel like I'm kind of in, I had a small little idea. What if I made a YouTube video talking about the games that I would recommend for Glinda and Elphaba? So I've already filmed my Glinda video. I'm talking about the games I'd recommend for her. And so this video is all things Elphaba. So we're going to be talking about the games that I personally would recommend for her to try. This is obviously just kind of a fun little silly video that I'm doing. But if you personally have any recommendations for Elphaba, please go in the comments and drop all of the recommendations for Elphaba, and then all of your recommendations for Glinda. Please hop over to my Glinda video and drop all of your recommendations for her. So without further ado, here are my 5 board game recommendations that I would recommend to Elphaba. I have loved Elphaba's character. Like, I've always resonated with her character. I'm just obsessed with Elphaba. I love her and her storyline, and so I'm really excited to jump into these games. So my 5th pick here for Elphaba is, I feel like this one's kind of a no-brainer. I don't know how I could do this list without adding this particular game onto it, but this is a game where you are basically playing as villains, and this is Disney villainous, but specifically the Wicked to the core villainous. Come on, the very first song, like right off the gate, is "No One Mourns the Wicked," and I feel like that whole song, like all of the "No one mourns the wicked," I feel like this whole part, like it's just, I feel like this game would just totally fits into that. So in Villainous, if you're not familiar with this game, you basically take control as a villain. One of the Disney villains. They have lots of different expansions. You are trying to compete against the other villains that are at the table, basically. Obviously, everybody thinks Elphaba is wicked and is the villain, right? Is the wicked witch. And so I had to obviously add this game, which is all about taking control of a wicked character. So yes, I had to add villainous to this list. So in the Wicked story, poppies are a very prominent, a very important piece of the Wicked story. Obviously in The Wizard of Oz, the poppies are what makes Dorothy fall asleep. But then in the movie, Elphaba actually uses the poppies to make everybody in the classroom fall asleep so she can steal, or maybe I shouldn't say this. This is spoilers. This is spoilers. Sorry, I should have done a spoiler warning. Okay, maybe skip like the next 2 seconds if you don't want spoilers. But in the movies, Elphaba uses the poppies to make the lion cub kind of fall asleep. Or not the lion cub, to make the classroom fall asleep so she can steal the lion. So because poppies are kind of a big important part, Elphaba uses them often. I think Elphaba kind of has a little bit of a green thumb. Okay, I know she literally has a green thumb, but I mean like a metaphorical green thumb as well. So I wanted to add some sort of like gardening flower game to this list. And so the 4th game that I'm going to be recommending to her is Floriferous. So in this game, you are experiencing joy as you gather flowers from your garden and pair them with your cards. I just think this is a very relaxing, fun game where you basically are strolling through your garden, collecting flowers, finding joy in the abundance of nature. I think that Elphaba really likes flowers, and I think having a game that just focuses on collecting flowers, I think that would be a really good one. I almost put Tussie Mussy on this list as well, but I think Floriferous kind of has more of like a kind of like peaceful, I don't know. I like the vibe of Floriferous, so that's why I added it to my number 4. One of the important parts of Wicked is there is a point where Elphaba is able to get her hands on the Grimmerie. I can never say it right. I think it's the Grimmerie. But what the Grimmerie does is it allows her to focus her magic in a way that kind of reveals that she has more powers than everybody else. It really helps her kind of hone and focus her powers. I really like that idea. I really wanted to kind of find a game that had some sort of book in it. And so I was kind of between a couple, but I ended up going with Spellbook. In Spellbook, you are trying to become the greatest wizard by collecting and managing your materia to feed your familiar and learn your spells. Act quickly to use your powers early or wait to unleash them at full strength. Each player is accompanied by a familiar, possesses a grimoire, and collects materia to master spells and feed their familiar. The game ends as soon as the magician's grimoire is complete or a familiar is fully fed. I really love the look of this game, and I love the little tokens. I believe that they're acrylic tokens, but I don't quite remember, that are on the board. And yeah, it's just all about building out your grimoire and trying to become the most like powerful wizard. I think this is a great game to kind of link in to that point in Elphaba's life, and when she's able to get onto the Grimmerie. So I think that she would connect with this game because it's all about that. It's all about building out your book and trying to become powerful. So yeah, so I think this would be a good choice to recommend to her. We all know how much Elphaba loves animals. That's like a big driving factor for her is her love for animals and how she wants to protect them, and she believes that they need to retain their rights. And so obviously I had to add like an animal focused game into this list, and so the one that I picked was Ark Nova. In Ark Nova, you are planning and building a zoo. You're basically kind of managing a zoo and trying to help support conservation projects. The reason why I chose Ark Nova over the many other animal games that I could have chosen is because this one has that conservation aspect to it, where you are trying to support conservation projects on top of everything else. On top of building out your zoo, you're actively trying to support conservation projects. And so I liked that aspect, really resonated with me in regards to Elphaba, because she doesn't just care for animals because she thinks that they're nice and we should care for them. She cares for them, and she actually actively fights for them and actively wants to help them, right? Believes that they have rights, believe that they deserve these rights. And so I thought that this one kind of fit in with that niche a little bit more than other ones. This is a very big game. Some argue that this game is a little bit too long, but at the end of the day, this is a game where you really do feel like you're building out a zoo. You're building enclosures, you're working with sponsors, you're trying to get animals into your zoo, and I just think she would resonate with a lot that this game has to offer. And so coming up to my number one pick, the very top game that I would recommend, all has to do with spirits. How do I even describe it? Spirits defending their home from invaders. So this game obviously is Spirit Island. In Spirit Island, you literally are taking on the role of a spirit who has inhabited this island, and you are trying, or this land, and you're trying to push back and get rid of the invaders that are slowly coming in and taking over and spreading their kind of corruption over the land. The invaders expand across the island map, and each turn they explore onto some lands, and then they will build onto those lands, forming towns and cities. The turn after that, they ravage there, bringing blight to the land and attacking any native islanders present. It will really resonate with the theme of this game of pushing back against kind of that foreign invasion, right? That foreign policy that's like coming over the land. I think she would really connect with the characters in this. I think she would really resonate with what you're actively doing in this game, because you really are fighting. And you feel that too when you are playing the game. You feel like these invaders are just coming, and you have to attack them and push back and reclaim the land for yourself. This theme of like protecting nature and driving out the destructive invaders is very, very heavily present in this game. And it's also very heavily present in Wicked too. That's like a huge part of the series. I really think that like the cooperative gameplay reflects her selfless like fight for justice, and I think like the deep strategy and kind of like the magical stuff that's happening, I think she would just really resonate with Spirit Island. All right, so those are my 5 game recommendations, games that I personally would recommend to Elphaba if she was coming to me and wanting to play a board game with me. Again, I already mentioned this below, but if you personally have any recommendations that you think Elphaba would enjoy, please go ahead and drop them into the comments below. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today as I kind of live out some fantasy dream of playing board games with these 2 awesome characters. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, it means so much if you could do that. Really helps support me and kind of everything that we're doing over here. But until next time, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later.